I want to believe this, but it'll change. At the end of the day, I changed my mind like 18 times. I mean, more than that, because every specialties, I want to go through everything in life under the sun. Maybe that's why I kind of went to family medicine, because we kind of do a little bit of everything.
Right.
But overall, people come in, I'll say a small percentage. I think my school maybe only like 3% who say, I'm going to be a surgeon, I'm going to be this, and they end up doing that. The majority of people will change their mind, maybe once, twice, most of the time, and just go through the experience and things you realize you like this, you don't like this. Growing up, my mom, she's in the neuro ICU, nurse for like 15 years, she gave me Ben Carson's book to read. I went to go see him, and like, oh my god, my son's going to be a neurosurgeon now. I sat in neurology class, and I was like, this is me. Then he said, oh, you're going to be a neurosurgeon, right? I was like, surgeon possibly, neurosurgeon? So I kind of kill that dream, all right? Sorry. But.
While we're on the screen, what's the difference between allopathic and osteopathic?
As far as admission?
Well, just the general difference. Yeah, since we're talking about specialties, so people know.
So allopathic and osteopathic are two full scope practicing physicians. Allopathic is the traditional route that USC offers with their medical school. Osteopathic, I can speak a little bit more to because I am a DO, but it was started back in the 1800s by this guy named A.T. Still, and its premise is to practice holistic medicine. The added component of A.T. Still happened to be an MD, by the way. He decided to add manipulative medicine to the MD curriculum, so to speak, and that was the idea of. The idea behind osteopathic medicine is to find health. That's kind of their motto, if you will. And our goal is to promote health, and we utilize that not only with the pharmaceuticals that allopathic physicians also use, and surgeries, and all of that, but we try to allow the body to naturally heal itself, and we can do that or augment that with our hands sometimes. The idea being that everything in our body is connected. And that's a true cornerstone of osteopathic medicine. Not to say that allopathic students don't get that in their curriculum too, because I think it's probably going that way. I didn't go to an allopathic medical school, so I can't speak to that. But
we don't.
We do a lot of clinical medicine.
We do a lot, yeah.
As far as like specialties go, if you're wondering about that, like if you want to be a neurosurgeon or if you want to be a family doctor, you can do either route. There's DOs that practice in every full scope. Every branch of medicine as well as MDs. So
and they're merging.
They are merging.
And they actually are. Yeah.
2016, the AMA and the AOA are
merging for residency. So right now, like what we had to do, we had to apply so you could apply to both. I didn't, but you can. I only applied to allopathic family medicine programs, but in that. So you don't always have to take different board exams for that. So there's COMLEX and there's USMLE. I took both because I don't know what's wrong with me, but I took both. So I took step 1, COMLEX, step 1, USMLE. The next year I took step 1, or step 2, COMLEX, and step 2, USMLE.
I think your options open.
And that's why I did it, because you're already studying for it. So at that point you're like, well, let me just take both. Matt didn't do that. He said no. I remember talking to him about it when we were going through it. But I took both because I didn't know what specialty I wanted to do. And so when you apply to residency, you can apply allopathic, osteopathic, or you can apply both. But the match day is different for us. So the osteopathic match day was in February, and the allopathic match day is in March. So you could theoretically enter the osteopathic match, but if you match, you're done. That is where you're going. But if you don't, then you can enter the allopathic match, and that's what I did.
It's a little bit like Greek life. It's a very confusing process. I'm sure none of you are.
I don't quite understand it myself
because it's very confusing. But it's a little bit like Greek life, which some of you may know about. I wasn't a Greeker, but essentially you rank your programs that you interviewed at, and you rank them in the order that you want to go to them. And then they do the same thing with you guys. And ideally, you're number one. They pick you number one for the school that you pick as your number one, and then you match. And then if that doesn't happen, then you go down to number 2 and you match. And then there's a whole algorithm that the computer tells you the answer about noon on March 15th.
And nobody really knows how it's done.
Yeah.
Someone told me group of economic professionals set it up, the algorithm and stuff. But nobody knows.
But that's a long way away. That's a long way away.
Don't focus on that.
I think the separation is not as widely used to be.
Right.
And now they're merging, so
They're
there won't
merged,
even
yeah.
be, so you don't have to worry
So you
about.
won't really
Yeah.
say
The
something.
good news is there's more
What do you-
options out
what do you
there for
guys-
you guys.
what do you
That's
guys-
the long and the short of it.
Okay.
Congratulations, students. Congratulations.
Yeah.
This is what you have to look forward to. And with this topic, it's going to lead to
All right, so I get to talk about the fun stuff. Just to go on about the boring cost of everything. You know, you've gotten into medical school. That's where we are on the road. You know, your family's proud. Your mom and dad are so proud. Their little one's going to be a doctor. It's going to be awesome. But how the heck are you going to pay for it? This is something that I know freshmen, sophomores probably. It's going to be a little bit over your heads. No offense, but juniors, seniors, this is definitely something that you all should be looking at and start looking at your options and seeing what's out there. This slide here is just kind of an idea of just the overwhelming burden of the cost of medical school. This was the 2013-2014 statistics from the AAMC. The median tuition and fees for med school for a public school was $32,000, almost $33,000. For a private school, it was nearly $53,000. So you look at that and you're like, wow, how am I going to pay for that? That's a lot of money. And then you know, you have your business school friends. No offense if anyone's in school of business, but they're out making money already, and you're thinking about taking all this debt. It's really stressful. But then you know, look at the median 4-year cost of attendance for the class of 2014, which was our class. For public medical schools, public university schools, was $218,000. And then for private schools, it was $286,000. That's the median. So there are numbers on both sides of that. So yeah, you might feel like this little guy when you start hearing these numbers.
I feel like him already.
Yeah. So, good thing for you guys, there are lots of options. So, and I realize this is a whole nother topic in itself, and we can spend hours talking on the subject. So I'm just going to do a general overview of everything. So, one of the biggest thing is definitely government loans, federal government loans. That's what the grand majority of medical students end up, you know, utilizing to pay for their medical school. Bad thing about those is you got to pay them back. They are a loan, and they do accrue interest, and they are very expensive and very burdensome. And many physicians spend, you know, decades paying their loans off. So I'm going to focus a little bit more on some of the options that you have out there to prevent accruing so much loan debt. One of those being the military. I wasn't in the military. I have a lot of friends that did the military scholarship program through medical school, and it's a great program. They offer it's the HPSP, or the Health Profession Scholarship Program. It's basically a year for year. The branches of military that are involved in this are the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force. So basically what the year for year means is that for every year you receive the scholarship in medical school, you owe it a year of service after you're finished with residency. So you pursue medical school, finish that, you do a residency in whatever specialty you want to do, and then afterwards you serve in the military as a physician. So you get to do what you want to do after that. And this scholarship offers full tuition, also offers a monthly stipend, which is pretty nice. You get paid to go to medical school. So that's a great opportunity for everyone, and I encourage you to look into that and take advantage of it. There's also several loan repayment programs out there. One of those being with the, I'm going to talk about a little bit more in depth, is the National Health Service Corps. But there's several loan repayment programs, and I know Dr. Witherspoon can talk about this because she benefited from one of the loan repayment programs. But basically what they offer is, depending on what program it is, they will give you money to repay your loans while you're out practicing as a physician. The National Health Service Corps specializes in underserved communities, both rural and urban, throughout the nation. And if you go and agree to work in one of these healthcare shortage areas, they will pay you, you know, a certain sum of money. I think it changes every year, but they'll pay you the money back so you can pay on your loans while you're working as well. Do you have anything?
Yeah, the advantage that I found with the National Service Corps Loan Repayment Program is that, yes, I incurred the debt, and sorry to say it was only $1,000, thank goodness. Timing is everything. I know. So the $85,000 was able to be repaid back and easily in 3 years. And they would give me I remember getting a check for $69,000, all excited. My husband and I looked at it on the couch. Should we pay the loans or buy a car? We did the right thing. We paid the loans. And so that was really nice. But as he stated, I was also working. So I had the money to pay the debt, but also had a reasonable salary, unlike my colleagues who were going off into private practice. So it worked out for me. It said I was going to an area of individuals that had some financial challenges. But that was pretty much, I was committed to that. That's my ministry anyway, so it worked out really well for me. Ended up doing an urban site versus a rural site, which either or. And after the 3 years was about to sign up again, except for I had an opportunity to come back to the university. And so I chose that, but still trying to give back to that community. So that worked out for me. It gave me the freedom to choose where I wanted to go. Although you have some choice when you are a scholar, but I really needed to have the flexibility because I had a spouse and I needed to make sure I was a place that he could find a job as well.
Yes, and to go on to my next topic was the National Health Service Corps Scholarship Program, which was something that I took advantage of, so I'm partially biased to this program because I think it's awesome and excellent. But it is a scholarship program. It's very similar to the military program, except we don't wear the fatigues and the big boots, and we don't serve in the military. But it is similar to the loan repayment program, except that we receive a scholarship while we're in school, pay full tuition. We also receive a monthly stipend while we're in school as well. So it's really nice to do that. And then after residency, scholars like myself will have to go into an underserved community and serve and repay back what they paid for my school, I guess, basically. So I owe 4 years, so I'll be working 4 years after residency in an underserved, medically underserved area. Don't know where yet, but that's to come. But I kind of touched on that. So next slide. So basically, it's the same thing as the military. A year for years of support equals years of service. So there is a minimum for the scholarship program of 2 years. So a lot of people, like myself, applied during right before my first year of medical school, and was notified that I received the scholarship, and then did a 4-year scholarship, and now I have 4 years of service. But you can do it for 2 and 3 years as well, but it's a minimum of 2 years. And then one of the biggest things about the scholarship program, and I think it's gotten kind of not a bad rap, but a misconception, is that when you're done with this, they can just make you and force you to go out into the middle of nowhere, Nebraska, no offense if anyone's in Nebraska, or somewhere, and make you work as a doctor there without you not having any choice. And that is not true. It's actually, after residency, towards the end of residency, I'll start applying for jobs in these areas, so I do have a choice on where I want to go. And so there's a lot of options there. And like Dr. Witherspoon, my spouse is also a physician, and I will, have to put her needs and wants as far as a career goes into my decision as well. So that is something that is an option for you. To be eligible for the scholarship program, you do have to be a U.S. citizen or national, and you have to be a full-time student in an accredited school, be it a DO school, MD school. They also have dental scholarships. I don't know if some of you are interested in dentistry, nurse practitioners, certified nurse midwives, and also PAs. And they offer the same scholarships, the full tuition, and then the stipend and everything as well. Just going to give you a little blurb there, how to apply, and also this website has a ton of information on the whole entire program. You can go to nhsc.hrsa.gov and go that way, and then the next slide is, this is the website there if you want to learn about the scholarship and all the programs that they offer through that. I also brought some handouts here on the scholarship program and the loan repayment program too, if any of you are interested in reading up about that. And as always, I'm a resource for that if you have any questions. I think that's it.
Just to say one thing about that, because I definitely had that misconception and I did not take advantage of it. And now I have, and I'll just say it because I just was faced with the number on my paper on Friday, I have $382,000 to my name to pay back, and that's just school loans. That's not including my house. It's not including any credit cards that I might own or have.
Debt, not to your name.
Loan debt, yes. And the good news, there's good and bad news. Yes, if you're gung ho about not having loans after this is all said and done, definitely take advantage of the National Health Service Corps. I really wish I had looked into it a little bit more. Don't do the military if you're just doing it for the money. You will not be happy doing it. And I don't think it's not the best way to serve your country. You can serve your country in a lot of ways if that's not something you're really passionate about.
But if you are passionate about it.
If you are passionate about it,
please
please do, yes.
There is physical fitness involved.
There is.
You have to go every time.
The third thing I was going to say is, it's not, even if you choose, like myself, to not do anything, there are options after you graduate and even after your residency, which I plan to take advantage of, but I won't even go into that because it'll change in 10 years. So, but it's not the end of the world. So,
Yeah, this is pretty much where we are right now. But at the end of the day, this is actually fairly accurate. Y'all agree?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's it.
That's pretty much it as well.
Okay, we can bring it home. 22 years later. Really, the debt, that's reality. I'm not going to try to gloss over that. But I always think about my husband who did a non-traditional path and became a physician, an attorney. And when he pays his loan payment now, he says, I'm just happy that I completed it and had opportunity to pay it. So, in the reality of it all, yes, you have the debt. Probably take you 20 years to pay it. But I have yet to find a physician that is a pauper. I've yet to find a physician that is not, for the most part, doing what they really want to do and passionate about it. Too many people go to work every day, hate it, and that doesn't happen in medicine when you do it for the right reasons. And so when you look at it that way, it's worth it, no doubt about it. I can't think of any other profession that I want to be, being so, had an opportunity to be intimate with patients and people, to share so many things with us. It's amazing that that degree gives you that ability to really change people's lives. And in family medicine, one of the reasons I chose it because I couldn't make a decision when I went through each rotation during medical school. I realized I loved it all, and I had such a large family. You know, I thought I needed to be a psychiatrist, but then I knew when a family member asked me about diabetes. So I figured, what better way for me to really give back to my family as well as the community is being trained to take care of all of those things. So that is why I love family. Family medicine also, plug in here, is a 3-year training program. And when you finish it, you really truly don't have to get additional training. But with that training, you can do just about anything you wanted to do, within boundaries, of course. If you want to just continue to deliver babies, you have that option. If you want to have a younger patient panel and therefore you deliver and you take care of the pediatric population because you've been trained to do it. If you really like sports and want to be on the sideline, you can get that exposure there. If you're really good with your hands, because I really was good with my hands, and I like cutting things, we have lots of procedures in family medicine that you can do in the day-to-day of the operation. So that's what really kind of excites me, that I can go, we have these 4-room cubbies. I can see my 90-year-old, the next room do a well child check on a 2-month-old, go to the next room and listen to heart tones of an expectant mother, and in my last room I can go back and find out she's got a lesion I want to take out. So that's what I like, because that ADD kind of works to my advantage. You know? So medicine, like I said, it is an incredible opportunity just doing daily patient care. But also what I like about medicine, because you may have different desires, I kind of like advocacy. And so medicine gives me the vehicle which I can do more, not just for my family, but also for my community. When we look at the changing medicine, because it's going to change by the time they get finished, I like being a part of an organized medicine like the Academy of Family Physicians. And so I try to represent the 1,600 family physicians and medical students of residency in our state. And I've been honored to have the opportunity to be president this year. And so I'm talking to legislators, I'm talking to docs, they're saying, why are they making things so difficult with payment reform and electronic medical records? And I really just want to see my patients. And also the challenges of going to patients wondering, well, why is it so expensive? So I'm having a really big kick out of this. And then if you choose to do academic medicine, which I choose to do, I get an opportunity to work with these young people. I mean, every year we have a new batch. In 3 years they go off. And you wonder, my goodness, they seem so inept. No, but then when you get them out and you know they're making changes, and it is absolutely an incredible process. And I'm kind of psyched that I get to see this every year. And so that's why I stay in academic medicine, because I also meet with medical students. So, gosh, you name it, we can do it, just about. You know, I'm not going to do brain surgery, but you have those opportunities, and that's what I like about it. And you're still opportunity respected in the community, and they may want you on the board, different things of that nature. So if you talk about professionals, you make an investment of time, because it is an investment of time. And that's why it's so important to have balance. Because if you're not careful, you can really get so, I guess, absorbed by the whole process that you kind of lose yourself. And when you hear stories of people's triumphs, you're happy for them, but sometimes we hear some sad stories. So if you don't have that internal way to kind of shield yourself, you can get burnt out. So I really implore you to find out the things you really like and keep it and find it. If it's intramural games, do it, because when you're stressing, you want to relieve some tension and stress. If you like playing an instrument, continue on doing that. If you like travel, do it. We have opportunities where you can, certain residencies do a little bit more than ours, where you can go and spend 3 weeks in a country and do a mission. That is for you. Your timing, although costs you a little bit more, the technology at your fingertips right now are incredible. We have, you suppose all the books I'm carrying and lugging from one rotation to the other, these guys are on their smartphones. So phones, and getting different things. So it's really, really neat. It's not so much of what you can pack in your head as much as it is, do you know what resources are available for you to get the answer? That is key. Like I said, I was on the missions committee, and I cannot tell you enough about really knowing what you put on there, because that's what we ask you about. By the time you get to the admissions committee, if we decide to invite you for an interview, we know you have the academic prowess. So who else are you? What else do you do? And that's it. We ask questions like, if you had an opportunity to eat with Oprah Winfrey, the president, or Gandhi, what would you, I mean, you're like, you're asking this? What about this? We want to know, who would you want to have that conversation with? And what would you ask them? We ask you, do you know about the changes in the health climate? So do a little reading. Sometimes we ask you, what was the last book you read? Last book other than a textbook? Yes, we like to know those things. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to ask some questions, but I do believe that I truly am experiencing the light at the end of the rainbow. It is a glorious time. It is physically taxing. I think we might have joked about it, but medicine is physically taxing. It takes a lot out of you, especially in training. But at the end, I guarantee you, if you finish it, you'll love it.
They don't want to be the only person who works hard and get it done.
Maybe.
Yeah, so questions, comments, concerns?
Thank you for your attention.
You taking the USMLE and the complex?
Comlex.
Is that not like you have to go to a certain school to take that certain test? Or
Well, osteo.
For Comlex,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know why you would take it unless you were in an osteopathic medical school. Because
This is medical school
Yeah, this
testing when you
is-
get ready for residency.
this is after medical school. So you take
Right.
step 1 after you complete your second year. Yeah. And then you take step 2 after you complete your third year of medical school. Right, not undergrad.
See, undergrad is the MCATs.
Okay.
That's all you're worried about right now. Right now is MCATs.
Yeah.
But you can take either.
Yes.
Once you're in medical school.
As
Well,
osteopathic.
as an osteopathic,
Okay.
you cannot take the Comlex if you're an allopathic because you don't know anything about OMM. So you would fail 100%.